effects, and there's no toxin. So that's one of the most important things in homeopathy is it can be used for infants, for adults, children's, elders. So, all right.
No allergies to it? You found no allergies?
Pardon me?
No allergies to the
Yeah, no allergies, exactly, yes. Hello, welcome. How you doing?
Okay.
Join us.
Okay.
We just started practically. Just give you some information. How are you?
Okay.
And that would be your spine session. There we go. So, what is homeopathy? Homeopathy basically started about 200 years. It's a very old system of medicine that started since the Egyptians, if we want to go back that far. But it was about until this German doctor that he was always translating different type of book of medicine in different languages, and he was kind of like going tired of all this, medicine going and then not be able to help other people. That was at the time of the biggest epidemic in the world, and that was in the 17th century. And going through all his translations on all these books, medicine books, from German to English, from English to Spanish, he found this incredible bark, okay, that is called cinchona. And that bark, basically what it does, it was that if you take that bark, what the symptoms that you will get, it was the same symptoms of malaria, which was at that time, it was one of the biggest epidemics. So what he did was, he says, okay, let me take a little piece of this bark. He's a healthy person, he's a doctor, he's healthy. Let me take this little piece of this bark to see how it makes me feel. So when he took that little piece, he started making him feel sick. And what the symptoms were he would vomit, he had high fever, he was having all the symptoms that the people that were sick, they were having, the same symptoms. So he says, okay, well, let me introduce these, okay, to the people that are sick. So they did this study, with these people that were sick and the people that were not sick, they were, practically not sick, and they started doing this study. So what noticed was that as soon as the minute that he started giving this medicine to the people that they had the disease, the people started getting better. So that's when he started discovering that, and that's one of the main law of homeopathy, is the law of similarities, which is a substance that give you the symptoms of a disease, makes you feel better. Let me put you another example. Like I think probably you guys remember last time I gave an example of allium cepa. Allium cepa comes from an onion, comes from a purple onion, right? And what happens when we peeling an onion? You start sneezing, you start watery eyes, it's like an allergy type of reaction, your nose gets red. So then one of the main remedies in homeopathy for coryza, for allergies, for kind of like a common cold, it's allium cepa. So you see how that works. Another remedies, like for example, coffea, comes from coffee. What happens when you drink a lot of coffee, right? You cannot sleep, right? So if coffea is a remedy for an acute insomnia, okay? Because that I'll talk a little bit later about what's the difference between you taking a remedy for an acute and you taking a remedy for when it's chronic, okay? So that's how homeopathy started. From when this doctor had Simon Hahnemann, and then he started discovering all these other different remedies from plants, from minerals, herbs, and it was like a boom at that time, of the which was at the between the 17th and the 18th century. Okay, so homeopathy and philosophy and principles is basically what I just described, about the philosophy of homeopathy and how the law of the similarities. Okay, so words of homeopathy. Where homeopathy comes from, the word, it comes from the Greek. Homeo means almost similar, and pathy means pathos, which means suffering. So what I was just explaining to you, a substance that has a similarity of a disease, of the symptoms of a disease. Okay. Then we go to, okay, so how can homeopathy can help? Homeopathy can help from A to C, basically. From injuries, from digestion, from ear infections, IBS, emotionals, anxiety, common colds, emotionals in general. Okay, so, but what's the difference when you're going to see a homeopath for an acute and for a chronic situation? Okay, acute, it can be something like a cold, like a flu, and a rash that just came out, without any reason, or something that you've been having for a long time. In case you have children, so if your children's been having this ear infection for, every 2 other months, every 3 months, every 6 months, every other, you have to be in the doctor, and what happens? They give an antibiotic, okay? So the child feels better, and then a month later, you go back again, and you go back again into the same antibiotic, gets better a month, gets better another month, and then it goes back again to ear infection. So that we would say considering a chronic, okay? So the difference is when you go to see a homeopath for chronics is like that's what we call the constitutional, okay? Why? Because we need to take all the information from that child since he was born, since he was, in the belly, okay? And we need to take in consideration the history of the family, the mother, the father, how was the pregnancy when she was, when she was pregnant, did she had a positive pregnancy, did she was emotional good. So it's a lot of things that we need to take, a lot of data that we need to take in consideration to take in what we call a constitutional homeopathic. Okay, that's when you take a totality of the symptoms and you find a remedy that match all the symptoms. And obviously, the longer the disease is, the longer it takes the treatment. If it's something acute, it will go away in the next couple of days. But if it's something chronic, sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes 3 months. In 3 months, you see a big difference. Sometimes you see a difference right away in a week. Sometimes you see a difference in less than a month. But you do see difference. So that's what we call acute and chronics, and that's what we call constitutional. Any questions so far? Okay. Okay, so did anybody been to seeing a homeopath? Have you visited a homeopath, anybody? No? Okay, so basically the homeopathic visit is like a questionnaire. you know, like I was just describing. And it takes about an hour and a half, you know, for that first visit. And then the follow-up, which is, you know, basically I recommend when you go and see a professional homeopath, is that you at least you take a 2 to 3 follow-ups. Because, you know, it's when you're, that's the time that we see how the remedy is working, okay? And the most important thing is that don't give up, because sometimes, you know, parents, they see the difference, but they want to see difference right away. Like, you know, we used to have that, you know, in conventional medicine, we take a, you know, medicine for the pill and the pain goes away. And that's how we expect it in homeopathy. Homeopathy works different. It works, but it works a little slow. Okay, homeopathic worldwide. United States, we started to get a little bit more familiarized, you know, with homeopathy. Now you see homeopathic over the counter. You start seeing it more often in other places, of course, on the Whole Foods, Toonies. But this is just starting. Okay, now in Europe, it's one of the second medicines in the world, and India is the first one. So, but it's just started here, and I see that for in the next few years, people are gonna be more knowledge about homeopathy. In Brazil, for example, a lot of the doctors, they recommend homeopathy before they give, you know, a prescription medication. In India, before they go to a surgery, okay? Then normally in India, what they do is they have 2 hospitals, and they have the conventional hospital and they have the homeopathic hospital. So what they do before they go into surgery, they said, okay, well, we're gonna send you to the homeopath to see if they can give you medicines that it can help you right away to see if you can be safe, you know, and you cannot have a surgery. So, and different countries works differently. In England, their royal family has a hospital, and all over India they have, in London they have hospitals. One of the royal family, they travel, you know, everywhere, you know, with the homeopathic remedies. And people that they're very also being known in the world that they have used homeopathy, William Osler, which is the father of the medicine, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Jennifer Aniston, Paul McCartney, and President Clinton. So these are the people that have used, famous people that they have used homeopathic. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the remedies themselves. You know, where these remedies came from. You know, how do all these remedies work? Okay, probably you have heard about arnica. You have heard about calendula. You know, I mean, they're the most common remedies that we're more familiarized. Pulsatilla, gelsemium. How do these remedies? Okay, first of all, we have 3 kingdoms that are most important. We have the plants, minerals, and animals. And we use also flowers, herbs, okay. What's the difference between homeopathy and herbs? Anybody can give me an answer? Okay. One of like Lori was saying, that homeopathy it's very low potencies and in very small doses, right? And one of the reasons is because when material of homeopathy, it can be a plant, it can be a mineral, or it can be an animal, you only have the essence of the energy of the remedy itself. So there is a long process to get to these small little pellets that you know, okay? Now herbs, when you're taking a herb, it's more in the crude form, okay? And that's why herbs, they're great. I love herbs, but you need to be careful because it's very strong, okay? So when you take a herb, you need to be careful what you're taking and how many you're taking. In homeopathy, I remember one time when clients said, oh my God, my daughter, you know, she just opened the vial and she started taking all these pellets. You know, something's gonna happen to her, that she's gonna get sick, or she's gonna, you know, what should I do? Should I take it to the